We'll go ahead and get us started. So welcome. Uh, Happy to have folks join us today. We're going to start off a conversation about becoming a student board member on the State Board of Education. I'm Randy Spalding. I'm the executive director for the State Board, and we're going to have more in-depth introductions. But why don't we just go ahead and introduce ourselves? So, Abby, do you want to go?
Yeah. Hi, my name's Abby. I'm the senior student board representative on the State Board of Education, and I'm also a senior at Pullman High School.
Hi, my name's Riley Atchison. I'm a junior, and I'm the junior representative on the State Board of Education, and I go to Kashmir High School.
And my name is Anna Ricks. I serve as the Tribal Liaison and Community Engagement Coordinator with the State Board of Education. And I'm really glad you're here tonight. And I have a few things to say regarding today's meeting, but I will let Randy introduce himself first.
I already did. I'm Randy Spalding, executive director for the State Board. So, Anna, why don't you take it away?
Thank you. Sorry about that. So today's webinar is focused on the student board member role and what it's like, what it is, what the board member does, and what serving in this position actually looks like. You're going to hear from Abby and Riley about their experiences, the responsibilities involved, and the time commitment. Our goal is to give you a clear and honest picture so you can decide whether this opportunity is right for you. Our State Board of Education Director, Randy, will also share a quick overview of the board to provide more background. Before we begin, some few logistics. So this webinar is being recorded so we can share it with students who aren't able to attend. Because it's recorded, we ask that everyone keep questions respectful and school appropriate so we can make the most of our time together. If you have any questions during the presentation, please use the Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom screens, located near the chat icon. Please do not use the chat feature for questions. Later in the webinar, we're going to open up to live discussion. At that point, you can use the raise of your hand feature, which is under the react button, which is the heart on the bottom of your Zoom screen, and we'll call on participants in order. We're going to do our best to make sure the questions are answered. And with that, I would like to introduce our student senior board member, Miss Abby Woo. Take it away.
Like I said, I'm the senior student board member. I'm a senior at Pullman High School in Pullman School District. So that's like the Eastern Washington, sorry, Eastern Washington. We're like right next to Idaho. So yeah, in my free time, I did swimming as a sport for 4 years, and I'm a member of Washington Youth Alliance. I lead the Pullman chapter. For why I applied to the position, I just thought it was a really good opportunity to be able to share my voice on a statewide perspective and be able to speak up about the experiences that I have been through in school.
Abby? Riley.
My name is Riley Atchison. I'm the junior student board member. So if you got the position, you would probably you'd be serving with me. I'm a junior at Kashmir High School in Kashmir School District. I'm an active member of DECA Club, just competed last weekend, and National Honor Society. I also coach and choreograph the middle school drill and high school drill teams. So lots of palms and marching. It's really fun. Outside of school, I work at Campus Meadows Bible Camp, and I'm a program lead of there. And that's a big part of my life. Yeah, I applied for this position because I want to be a teacher one day. I love education, and I really wanted to advocate for a school system that fits all sorts of needs. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. All right, so just a quick overview of the board itself. So the State Board of Education is a 16-member board of appointed and elected officials. The mission of the board is to cultivate an equitable, inclusive K-12 education system that allows each student to be empowered with the knowledge and skills they need for a changing world. So this is a big concept, and the idea here is we want to be very centered on students and student voice and serving communities and helping students achieve their goals as they leave our system and move on to whatever's next. Um, and we do that through kind of four areas of authority that we have. So the board itself has sort of four jobs. One is very broad around advocacy and oversight for our system of public education. We're also responsible for establishing and periodically reviewing the high school graduation requirements. We are responsible for the state's accountability system, as well as school recognition, and so this is just ensuring that schools are delivering what they're asked to deliver with students. And then basic education compliance is a little layer deeper on that, where we're really looking at whether or not schools are delivering the kinds of coursework and curriculum, et cetera, that's required under state law. We also have a role in terms of approval of private schools, and we have a role with charter schools as well. So that's broadly what we do. As I mentioned, it's 16 members on the board, and then we have a staff of about 10 that support the board in their work. So let's see. And Anna, are you going to take over the what the student members do? Is this one you?
No, I feel like this one is just our students. So
Yeah.
really just
Okay.
talking about what you guys have been doing since you've started in your role.
Yeah, I would love to all take the first bullet point. We can swap. But we attend all board meetings, contribute to discussions, and vote on policy changes. Vote is bolded because we are one of 6 states in the entire nation that allows student members to actually have a legal vote. So my vote is just as equal as every other adult on the board, which is really unique to Washington, really unique to, our country and that kind of role. And it makes you equal among your board members. So that's a really cool part of it.
Yeah. Another thing we do is that we meet with lawmakers and other elected officials to advocate for policies. So these policies are usually anything to do with education. So we have like a legislative committee, and that kind of focuses on what the board's role during legislative session is advocating for policies that will further our legislative goals and priorities. And so, you'll get opportunities to maybe testify for the board or even meet with legislators and talk about, what the board's priorities with legislative session is.
Additionally, we attend community forums, do site visits and other outreach stuff developed by the board and partner organizations. You can kind of do your own thing additionally. So, I mean, I know today I just visited a high school and talked to some kids about graduation requirements. It's kind of your job is to represent the students, so you have the opportunity to go and listen to students. So,
Yeah, and we serve a 2-year term. So that starts in the summer of your junior year and it concludes on June 30th of your senior year. So that's the second year of your term. So my term is ending June 30th this year.
For eligibility, you have to reside in Washington State and attend a public or private school during your term. Um, so you'll be graduating in the 2028, and you have to be a current sophomore or rising junior at the time of your selection.
You have to be able to devote sufficient time to board responsibilities. This means being able to attend all of the meetings, as many of the committee meetings as you're able to when you're in committee. And yeah, being able to devote some time outside of school, sometimes to getting other sorts of tasks done.
You also kind of need to have some sort of positive academic or extracurricular record, which may be demonstrated by grades, activities, accomplishments, or recommendations of peers, educators, or community members. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be like ASV president, like 4.0 GPA, like I'm going to Harvard, nothing like that, but just generally positive, not like a felon or anything crazy, like just generally like positive, nothing horrible, like you know what I'm saying? So yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and you also have to be comfortable with being in a public facing role. So this means if we oftentimes board members are, showcased on social media, and you have to be okay with that, or you technically are a public, like you're in a public role, so people are going to be contacting you about things regarding education, and people in your life will probably talk to you about education, what's going on in that too. So, be ready for that.
A couple other benefits is other so you're reimbursed for all of your travel expenses when attending bi-monthly board meetings and other stuff. So it's not a concern if you live on the east side. Both me and Abby are from the east side of Washington State. The majority of our meetings are on the west side, but all of our travel expenses are reimbursed. So that means you get to stay in a hotel and things like that. They'll pay for gas or a plane ticket, that kind of thing. But you get to, I mean, serving on the board is a unique professional development opportunity with a powerful platform for student voice. I promise you it will look really good on your college application. Saying that you represent 1.1 million students is a very unique opportunity. Um, and it doesn't come by very often. So
Yeah. And while there's no like scholarship tied to the role, being able to serve in this capacity is a very meaningful opportunity for growth, and you're going to be working around adults in like a real professional setting. So you'll learn how to, conduct yourself. You'll probably learn how to write emails correctly. And yeah, it's almost like on the site job training as a high schooler, and it's been really meaningful. You can also receive a stipend of up to $100 per day when you're doing board work, but that all has to be logged. So, yeah.
You students. So now we're going to move into our core student kind of question and answer moments. And this is the time where you can use that question and answer button on the bottom of your screen and type in any questions that might have come up as we're moving forward. And then also, if you have a question, you are welcome to raise your hand and we will promote you to ask it. So, Abby, what do you think is your favorite thing about being on the board? Like, what do you feel like is your favorite thing? And Riley too.
I'll answer this and then we'll go to the live question.
Okay.
Um, but I think my favorite thing about being on the board is, um, I think it is like being able to say that I can represent a lot of students and having that responsibility. Like it definitely is a lot of like weight to know that you represent so many people, but it's also, I think it's been really like important to to build who I am as a person, in learning how I've grown as a person throughout my time on the board. And I think that really has helped me shape myself into who I'm going to be as an adult.
Yay, thank you.
Um, there's someone asking how many students typically apply. Um,
Roughly about 60 to 80 students, I believe.
let's see. And then how much time do you spend an average month working for the board? Riley or Abby, do you want to speak to that?
yeah, it kind of depends on how involved it's pretty up to you, I would say, to an extent. Like you can get involved in certain help me out, like
Committees.
legislative, yeah, committees, that's the word. You can get involved in certain committees. So if you want to go ham and do every single committee, you could probably be meeting up to, I don't know, at least like 3 to 4 times a week if you wanted to. Um, But depending on your engagement level with that, and there's no shame in not going for every single committee. But I think I think I average like 2 hours a week doing board stuff between checking and responding to emails, um, reviewing stuff. Yeah, that would be my average. Abby, I don't know about you.
I think it also depends on if the month is like a board meeting month, so we have off months. Board meeting months, definitely you're going to have to devote more time to that because you have to actually show up for the board meeting that usually lasts one day or multiple days. Um, I think outside of that, I would say, yeah, I agree with Riley, maybe like 2 to 3 hours per week of just all of the like, little paperwork stuff that you kind of have to do.
Yeah.
And I
And
would say, oh, go ahead.
there's not much paperwork other than like travel reimbursement kind of stuff and emails, but yeah. I also see a question, what would happen if we had a conflict with the board meeting? How do you balance board work with schoolwork or a club work? I I'm not sure. We set all of the board meetings ahead, way, way, way ahead. I have that's kind of more of a Randy Anna question for missing a meeting. I haven't missed one, but I also do running start, so it's way easier to be flexible with that.
Yeah, I honestly think if something were to conflict with the board, I would be more likely to let that, like, whatever thing that is, I would let them know that I would not be able to make it to that because I think in the long run, attending board meetings it's going to be so fleeting of an experience. Like those 2 years are gone pretty much in a flash, Riley. You can definitely say that because it's already almost been a year. Um, and so yeah, I really think it's it will be in your favor to attend all the meetings that you can and possibly have to cancel outside engagements. But yeah, I guess it's kind of a case by case basis.
Yeah, I mean, I've always prioritized board work just because we only meet in person 3 times a year. Um, so those meetings are really valuable and online even. Like we only meet so in total 6 times a year, which is not a lot. So I really try to make those meetings a priority. Smaller meetings, less so, just because you can always do some sort of catch-up work most of the time, but it's still important to be relatively free and flexible with your schedule. Um, as for balancing board work, like with schoolwork, I feel like I can't speak much to it, but I have always been one to rather play catch up than skip something. Um, Abby, you might be able to attest to that more, but
Yeah, I try to get all of the stuff that is due in the week of my board meeting done like the weekend before I leave or whatever. And then anything else that like gets assigned, I will do after the board meeting. And so I'll just try to like, keep it covered and make sure I'm never behind on anything. That being said, I am taking less classes because I'm also in Running Start and I'm a senior, so it's fine. Okay, I see a question. Omar typed it in the chat. Is there no type of transportation provided to the meetings? So usually they will be willing to like get you like a plane, but if there's like not an airport near you, you're probably going to have a parent or yourself drive you to like the airport to be able to take that plane. If you're closer to the meeting, I'm pretty sure there's options for like carpooling and then they will reimburse like your gas if you drive or if your parents drive you. Um so yeah.
Yeah, I
yeah.
would just add it's sort of an it depends because if we have a board member, another board member that's close by, sometimes we can arrange rides or staff. Sometimes those are options as well, but there's not a system for transportation. And Also on the where the meetings, I'd probably want to couple these two because the meetings move around the state. We are always meeting in Olympia for our February meeting, which is an in-person meeting, and then the meetings in June and October are the other in-person meetings, and those we rotate around the state. So we do have the schedule posted well in advance, and we help with transportation, but it's more of a reimbursement kind of a issue or a flight, or Anna sometimes takes a train if it works out. So
I also see um, how closely are you able to advocate for educational policies, which Abby can definitely speak to, but I would love to tackle the who do you work most with on the board? I would say Anna, definitely Colton, who's our media guy, Randy, and there's a couple other people who are like signed up to like hang, like be friendly with the students, pretty much be friends with the students. So Mary Furtakis, our chair, is one of them. And it's really cool because a lot of them are willing to like really just like get to know you and be kind of like coworkers, colleagues with you. So like Mary, for example, she has a cabin around where I live, and we will text about like the local news and stuff like that. And she's a huge Seahawks fan, and we'll talk about that. So it really goes to show that like you actually get to develop and build relationships, but you also kind of get to talk to adults and be an adult in this role. But
Yeah, and
Abby, I'd
I
love to
think
hear. Oh, sorry.
yeah, I think even if the adults like aren't signed up to be like the student, almost like student interaction people or like student trip like busing people, they're all still very willing to interact with us and they really want to talk to you and get to know more about you. And I think it's always been really fun to be able to do that. For the educational policies, I would say pretty closely because right now we're working on Future Ready, which is for graduation requirements. And while we are not as students like the ones directly writing the policies because we don't have like political science degrees or anything like that, so we don't know how the language works, we're able to I guess advocate sort of towards our ends, what we want to do with that and in a more meaningful way because like the stuff we say is going to be directly taken into account by whoever is making the proposal. And then also for other bills that just happen to be in the legislation, like you have the opportunity to testify. And because you would be testifying on the State Board of Education, if it was one of our priority bills, uh, they would usually like push you up to the front of the list and you are more likely to have that voice to talk to legislators. Um, so I guess you're almost regarded in a higher sense because of the experience that you are going to have interacting with students and kind of the weight that your voice carries on the board.
The next question, how many positions are available? It's just one, but there's two positions, but it just moves up every year. So Abby will be graduating, and whoever gets the position will be stuck with me for a whole year. And then it'll move up and move up. So I'll be the senior rep, and then someone will be the junior rep. Um,
And you served for 2 years, just to
and
clarify. Yeah.
yeah. So it feels like 2 years, like when you say it, it sounds like a long time, but it's gone by in a flash. Like I'm already halfway through. I'm already halfway through and I'm like, what? It's still like just dawning on me like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. So, yeah.
Okay, this one says, how often do you travel excluding meetings, for example, to other schools? I'd say that also really depends on you. The only reason that we're kind of traveling to other schools right now is specifically to talk to kids about Future Ready, because we're currently in the phase where we're trying to like build the proposals based off of student interaction and what the students are saying. I think it will likely depend on like what's in the priorities from year to year. But also like definitely if even if Future Ready wasn't happening, there's definitely opportunities for you to go like visit schools and talk to them. Uh yeah, on your own though. So
Yeah, and as we enter, we're kind of in the middle of graduation requirements in our Future Ready initiative right now. And whoever gets the position will kind of catch the tail end of that. Um, and so it will be more likely kind of probably around the policies and proposals that we're developing at the moment. So it will probably be a lot less than what we're doing right now. I'm probably going to a school every other week. I would go more if there was more schools around where I live, but I think it'll probably be a lot less than what me and Abby are doing, I would say.
And I would just add that Abby and Riley have been really proactive about going out to do that. It's not an expectation that you're out visiting schools between board meetings.
But it is really fun,
Yeah.
I will say.
Yeah.
You get a lot
Yeah.
of networking opportunities and you meet a whole lot of people. So
Yeah, so I would definitely recommend it, but like if you want to be focused on your schoolwork and not take a lot of time off like Riley and I do, that is totally up to you. And focus on your schoolwork. I'd recommend doing that.
We do have a lot of virtual opportunities as well where you can get on a Zoom call. We do that about every other month with other student leaders across the state, for example, to kind of understand what their perspectives are on issues that are coming before the board and things like that.
I will say, just a clarification, the majority of meetings that you do are online. I would say like 85, 90% of the meetings that you do are online. There are very few meetings that are in person. There's 3 board meetings that are in person. And then there's a couple future ready initiative which is the graduation requirement thing. There are a few that are in person. So it's majority online.
Are there any other questions? I think we're willing to give the raise the hand another shot because our tech guru has joined us. So if you feel like having more of a dialogue, please feel free to raise your hand.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Anna. I'll brief in, so I'm not just a floating head. My name is Colton. I'm the communications manager for the state board. And Abby and Riley know me best as being the one asking them to record videos and hyping up our social media. So they've been real pros at it. So good to meet you all.
Okay, there's a question in the Q&A that asks, how does the application process work? Are there letters of recommendation or any certain requirements? So the only requirements, as we stated earlier, are that you actually live in Washington. Everything else is pretty much like open. Yes, there are letters of recommendation, if I remember correctly. Yeah,
2.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's two. There's like one that's a teacher and then one that's like
Life
yeah,
person,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, figurehead in your life.
coach,
And
anything like that.
yeah. And then the other ones are like essay or not like essay prompts, but like stuff for it to write, basically.
And just to clarify, and I totally did like, you don't have to write a whole essay for each prompt. You can just like, my mistake when I went through it the application the first time is that I just wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote. And I like showed my mom and I was like, what do you think? And she's like, that's just a block of words. She was like, you need like, let's shorten this up. So it just, to be clear, it does not have to be an essay when you apply because there's quite a few prompts. You don't need to write like 8 essays back to back to back unless you feel deeply inspired and motivated and passionate about certain prompts. Like go for it. But just to be clear, because that can kind of be misleading sometimes in applications. So yeah.
Yeah. I would say that most of my responses were probably like one paragraph. There may have been a couple that were multiple, but it's really just like up to how you want to present yourself. I think the application is mostly just, like who are you as a person and like whatever way that you choose to represent that in your writing in any form, like that's going to communicate that. And so I guess like choose to do what is truest to you.
I also see, could the life person slash coach letter of recommendation also be a teacher or club advisor that is a teacher? I'm pretty sure that we're not gonna get really nitpicky like, oh, you said the life person was another teacher? Banned! There goes your application down! So nothing crazy like that. I had my principal write me a letter of recommendation for like the teacher admin. And then I had another teacher who was like my DECA advisor write one for me as well. So it doesn't really matter as long as we just know that it's not your mom writing a letter of recommendation and then like your dad or something. Like we want people that are like actually involved in a community and show that you're involved in a community. So
We have a raised hand. Let's see if we can make this work.
I think
Caitlin, we can hear you.
Yay. Okay. My question is, does travel reimbursement only apply to those that live far away from the location, or does it apply to everyone that comes?
Everyone, there are some exceptions in the travel rules. Like if you live in the same town as the meeting, you won't get reimbursed. And to get a hotel room, you have to be more than 50 miles away. But otherwise, uh, so like if you're in Olympia and the meeting's in Olympia, then you wouldn't get reimbursed for your travel. But if you're in Shelton and the meeting's in Olympia, then you would. And
Okay,
apologies
thank
if that's not geography you're familiar with, but
And also, I wanted to add that if you are a student that is traveling, let's say you're flying in, and you will then have a board member, not really, or staff, I would say, one or the other, who is kind of like assigned for you as a helper who passes a background check. And so then you'll be picked up and kind of taken care of.
I see a question. Do you have any tips for this for the application process? Is there a commonly made mistake when applying?
I
I guess
feel like I feel
my
like
sorry.
wait, can I just
Go for it.
so both of us are actually new this term. So none of us saw the applications last year because I'm like finishing out a different term from the person who was here the year before. So I don't think we could really answer commonly made mistake. And honestly, when you're applying, I don't really think that you should think of anything as a mistake because like how you write is like who you are, you know? So just like be concise and don't, I guess, worry about that.
I guess my advice would be to take time to like set time aside to do it. I will be honest, I didn't apply until the very last day. And then my principal didn't get me the letter of recommendation until like literally the morning of, and I had to email it to James. And I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, can you put this in place? I'm so sorry. So stuff like that, just like make sure that everything is together and it will probably take longer than you think to like have a well-written, thought out application. So
Yeah.
take more time than you need.
And also as somebody who's like done college applications now, I suggest like doing a Google document because I don't think our thing will like save your answers. So like look at all the questions, paste all of them into a Google Doc, and then yeah.
That was, yes, you're triggering memories, Abby, because as I remember, as I was writing it, I accidentally like turned off my phone and it reset the entire application. And I remember like staring at my phone, like, are you kidding me right now? So yes, use a Google Doc because the way the system that we, it's AWSL's system, but it doesn't autosave. So that's, yep.
Yeah. And most college apps won't do it unless you like specifically press a button. Um, so yeah. Well, I guess then that would be a mistake is not writing it in a Google Doc. But honestly, I think even if you like go through the application process and you don't get the role, I still think that it's, having gone through this already as a sophomore before I applied to colleges, like it was very helpful to know kind of like sort of how like an application format looks like and how to like write it down and express my thoughts on a Google Doc. So, yeah.
I see Caitlin has another question. I would just add to that, and you kind of heard it, but don't wait to the last minute, and give and even more time for your letters if you need reference letters. It's always good to get those well in advance. So
Especially from busy people, like if you get someone who's kind of higher up, like your principal, um, it will take them longer typically. But I see a hand, Caitlin.
Where do we submit the letters of recommendation? Do we email them to someone or?
They're at the bottom, I believe. So when you go in the application, you fill out all the questions, you go all the way to the bottom, there'll be like an add file button, and you can either like upload it as a doc, a photo of it, anything like that should
Oh,
work.
thank you.
And I would say that you don't necessarily need it from your principal, like Riley did. I think I just got it from a teacher and then like my swim coach, and that was just fine. So just pick people who can actually represent you. Okay, there's a
Um,
question that
I was
says, do you interact and speak in front of community members often, or are most public speaking opportunities within the board? Personally, I would say I do speak a lot in front of like other people but that's just because of my roles outside of the board. Um, for the board, there have been public speaking, like I guess there are opportunities if you did sign up to testify on a bill that would be sort of like public speaking. And sometimes during board meetings, you should share out or like you have the opportunity to share it to the rest of the board. And that's not like totally public speaking, but you are almost like presenting. Um, so I think there's definitely opportunities, but you would have to take those yourself. Riley, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, I think it's really up to you and how much you want to, but I will say that adults on the board are so encouraging. You like someone will ask for advice and you'll like say something and they'll be, wow, the student said something. Oh my gosh. So they really do encourage you to share out because you represent these students that they're serving. But it's I would say it's pretty optional, though I would highly recommend it. And it really like despite it being really scary, I really do believe that it's increased like my confidence in myself and my public speaking role. Um,
Yeah.
but it's really up to you. I would say that I do think my school board, like just Kashmir School District, like jumped on me the second I got the role. They were like, "We would like you to come to every one of our meetings and share about what you're doing on the board." So people in your like local community might come for you and be like, can you please share about your role and what do you think here? So that is kind of another public speaking opportunity that happens. But yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I also sorry, Randy, go for it.
well, I was just going to do the letters one. They don't have to be confidential. If you have a recommender who would like it to be, reach out to us and we can get you an email address to send it to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd say because it is like you have to attach the file yourself, within that, it's like intrinsically that you are going to have access to the file that it is. And I guess you could read it if not, or you could read it or you don't have to. It's really up to you.
Yeah, but if you have someone who says, I want to send it directly, then I would just say,
Yeah.
we can give you James's email and he'll get it. Well, James Lehman is one who supports the application process for us. So
Yeah. I also see when is the application due and where is the application? Is it's due April 1st? Yeah,
March 31st or April.
March.
It's like somewhere around there.
It's like the end of this month.
31st.
Yeah.
March 31st. April 1st is when we get to read them all. But March 31st is the application deadline. And it is found if you just put in Washington State Board student application, some variety of that. Google knows everything, they'll figure it out.
I'll throw it
And
in the
Colton
chat.
just put it in the chat.
Thank you, Colton. Appreciate it. So, yeah, end of this month. And when asking someone to write a letter of recommendation, what guidelines/information should we give them? My teacher was wondering how long the letter should be and if it's online or not. Um,
The
letter
letter's like a page,
yeah,
right?
like just like think of like a normal sheet of paper. It should just fit on one page. Um, my both of the people who I asked to do, they asked me to create a cheat sheet of just a bunch of things that I've accomplished in my life so that they could brag about me. So I
Yeah.
don't know if that's helpful, but um, if you just look up like letter of recommendation options, ideally they make it specific to the like board itself. Like this person has done X hours of community service and has shown active community engagement, which makes them a great candidate for this position. Something like that.
And I think like the things that your teacher asks for is really up to the teacher and how they want to recommend students. I've had teachers that just like I asked them and they were like, okay. And I've had teachers where I had to fill out a thing, or I've had teachers where I had to like, like give them a list of all of my accomplishments, like Riley said. So I'd say go to your teacher for that. Um,
I'm
yeah. But
seeing,
yeah.
um, additionally, are you allowed to attach additional letters? You, I don't think you can. I think it's two. You just pick your best two. I don't know. I like reading through the letters that people write for me, and I'm like, I think this one really highlights who I am, and I'm gonna turn that one in. And that makes it sound like I have a book of letters of recommendations. I do not. I have like three, but then I just pick the best two. So, um, it really just two. Pick your favorite two. I don't know, something like that. Yeah.
Colton is
To attach
answering
the,
the last
oh yeah,
question.
Yeah.
oh yeah, okay. There'll be, when you fill out the form, you'll see an option to upload. So you upload a PDF, Word document, etc. You do want to attach something rather than send a link like a Google Doc link. So,
Yeah.
So
Screenshot
yeah, so like tell
something
your
like
teacher to
that.
send you a file or like a screenshot of it or
yeah.
something.
Or take a photo like on a piece of paper. Um, Additionally, I don't think that we talked about what happens after you apply. After you apply, all the staff and some of us get to like kind of pick through all of the applications, and we pick, I believe it's six or seven. Sorry, and we will those top 6 to 8 people will get interviews, and from there we will make our choice. We partner with AWSL to do it. So if you get an interview, um, I mean, I think that was what I was aiming for when I got it. I was like, if I could just get an interview, that would be so cool. That would be such an amazing experience. And it really was. And then somehow I got this. I don't know what happened in between. I can't remember it. It's all fuzzy, but yeah, that's what happens after you apply. We'll contact you about a week-ish after. Um, so early April, we'll reach out and say this is when we are going to be doing interviews. So, yep.
A week, really? I thought it was longer.
Um, I know it. Yep.
Okay.
Additionally, I keep saying additionally. Um, I see another question. So should teachers write a physical letters and then I will take a photo? Yes or no. It doesn't really matter. Whatever works. My
If that's
teachers
the only option, then yes.
my teachers were really old school, and that they printed it and gave it to me. And then I had to take a photo and then turn it in. So it literally, there's a button that says attach file, and it gives you like 10 different options in ways to pick a file. So
It's really, yeah, it might just be good to know too. Things always happen with the app. Things could always happen with the applications. If you are having trouble, and I imagine you'd probably be the best person to email if they're running into some particular situation and having some trouble, right?
Yes, and I will drop my email in here. And also, I know that a lot of school offices will help you out with scanning. If you get a letter from a teacher and you needed it scanned in, then they would oftentimes be very kind and help you get that scanned in so you have a copy.
Okay, there's a question that says what's the best option if they could write it on a document? I would say the most efficient option is if your teacher just emailed you a PDF of the letter and then you just have the file directly. Anything else you're probably going to have to go like and convert it to a PDF or convert it to an image or something like that.
I think I screenshotted mine. So as long as it's legible, we ball. So any other questions? I'll tell you, me and Abby got to visit the Capitol at our February meeting, and we typically do a day on the Hill for the February board meeting. So really cool. There's a vlog that Abby did on our Instagram. It's super cool. Just kind of like a day in the life of what that looks like. It's really fun. And you feel very adult getting to travel and do all the things. That's a pretty new experience to me, is like, going through airport security on my own, all that boarding passes, and it's really fun though. So,
We're going to put in the student board members page again in here so you can take a look at that if you want to. And I believe that Riley and Abby have contact button on that page if you feel like that you wanted to ask more questions. I'll let you guys speak to it.
It should be on the board members page. So like on the tab on the side, you go up one, it just says board members, and then you have to find our profiles on there, and then there's a button that should link directly to our board emails. So yeah, like feel free to drop in any other questions. I think we both really like to talk to students a lot. So if you even want to talk to us and like get to know more about us, feel free to do that. I am willing to meet a lot of people, and I think it'll be really fun.
I always feel so special when someone sends me an email. Like, oh my gosh, like they know me. So, if you have any other questions at all, our emails are out there. Um, and you can go and find them.
And I know some of you might be on AWSL and you might have my Instagram. So if you have my Instagram, you can DM me on there too. You know, whatever contact that
Yeah,
you
I
want. Yeah.
I see. How can we reach you to follow up? Um, I'm curious if you're referring to post application or post this. Post this, you can this meeting, however you want to phrase it. You can email us, as we plenty of methods to find us and hunt us down. Email, there we have an Instagram, that kind of thing. Post the application process, you're also welcome to email us, but we will reach out to you for interviews. So, yeah.
And you should see a link to the board member page that they referenced in the chat. And this is Anna's contact on the screen as well. She's also, if you look under the board, you'll see under staff, you can see her email there as well. But you can actually reach out to any of the staff, but Anna's going to get you the answer the quickest. So.
All right. Are there any other questions before we wrap it up? I know that sitting through this process just once, like what the student said, not having to be like like a ASB leader and really thinking holistically about your whole self as a student is so important. And so I just wanted to highlight that too.
And no pressure if you feel like, oh, like I don't have good enough grades. I don't like, I promise you, I don't have a 4.0. I don't expect you to have a 4.0. Um, it's really just about having like yourself, and your passion for education or policy work or whatever that might be, really honing in on that. And rather than, yeah, I get all A's, I'm pretty cool, or I'm ASB president, that kind of thing. And not to say that those aren't bad things, but we really want to emphasize that this is a role open to anyone and everyone. And
Yeah.
yes, Colton, we did mention when they will hear back about from interviews. It should be early April 8th or 10th-ish. somewhere around that area,
And
depending
I
on.
think I just wanted to add, as somebody who did not get it when I first applied, there are so many other like opportunities to be heard as a student leader or just as a student even. And I think it all really depends on, what you make of the time that you have. Even if this doesn't work out for you, there's definitely so many other paths that will. And I think that my time spent in the year before I actually got the role helped to shape me into even more of a person that I am than the couple of months that I have been in this role for. So yeah, honestly, it's really just like be true to yourself, and then if it doesn't work out, then that's all right. Like there's so many other opportunities, and I think if you wanted to contact me or Riley about other things that we know that you are able to do, like to help us or just to help students in general across the state, feel free. We're very eager to share our knowledge.
And listen to you guys. I also would love to, if you don't make this position, I would highly recommend advocating for a school student position on your school board. Um, it's a really cool way to get involved. And if you already are a member on your school board, there's the National Student Board Member Association that's really cool. Area where you can also get involved more on a national level than a state level, but still cool.
And I would just add too that everyone who applies will be on a list, and you'll receive notices about opportunities to engage with the board. I mentioned earlier that students meet with other students across the state to get feedback, and we won't keep you on the list if you don't want to be on it, but you'll be invited to participate in those discussions as well, as just because that's a group we know is interested. So we'll be reaching out. There's
Yeah,
another
There
question in the.
was,
I was gonna say
yeah.
that question, how does being on the board open up other opportunities? It opens up a couple opportunities just to get your name out there. I think that's one of the really cool parts is it's a public role. So your name will be out there, especially tied to state level stuff is that's a pretty big deal. Um, you most likely will be in some sort of local news. If you go and visit other schools, you'll get your name out. It's a lot of networking opportunities. And though I can't speak to those like right now, I'm sure, like positive that in my lifetime, it will benefit me to be a part of the board. Not only like personally, like on a self level and like self-improvement level, but also a like my name is known kind of thing. So I'm sure job opportunities will come from this. I'm that's something I'm pretty confident in.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Riley, and I'll build on that. As you were noting before, the networking opportunity is huge. In this role, you are speaking with industry leaders. You're talking with people who, have a lot of responsibility and a lot of connections of their own. So, regardless of whether you're thinking about going into a government role or you're interested in becoming a teacher, even if your plan is maybe a little bit different and this is just an opportunity you want to take on um, to supplement, your other interests, you're going to meet people and connect with people who probably are involved in the things that you want to have. So the people you meet and the connections that you'll make are huge on our board as well, but just in the work that you'll be doing.
I mean, on our board alone, I was just thinking of we have one of our newest board members, Sue Kane, is the CEO of a NCW Tech, and she focuses like she's working with AI and tech and all that. What an amazing opportunity to be able to like maybe one day be like, "Hi Sue, can I get a job? Because like you know me. Oh my gosh, isn't that crazy? Like you knew me when I was 17 years old and like look at how much I've grown now. Like isn't that crazy?" Stuff like that. It really does provide opportunities. I think it will benefit me in the future. I also see if you don't get an email for an interview, should you assume you didn't get an interview or will there be an email? Colton, I would love it if you could speak to that.
Yeah, we'll send an email either way. We won't ghost you, so you'll hear back and know what's going on.
And feel free to reach out. And if you haven't heard, feel free to check on status as well.
There was a date on the website that said like April 7th or 8th, is when you would get the email, and I got to like the end of April 8th and I was devastated. I was like, oh, I guess they didn't want me. I was like, oh, that's a bummer, but I guess like it is what it is. And the next morning I got an email that was like, you got an interview, and I was like, yes. So just be patient, bear with us. We will not just leave you on red, as the kids say. So
Are there any more questions regarding applications or duties or what it's like being a student member?
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Abby and Riley, for taking some time out to work on this recruitment, and Colton and Anna for your work. So I just really appreciate everybody connecting for this. So thank you all so much, and look forward to seeing your applications.
Thank you so much.